Hi, foodie friends. How's everyone doing? Hope you're doing great. We are going to have birria tacos. So let me get them from the bag and I'll be right back with you, okay? So you'll see me plate my plate and then we'll eat together, okay? Welcome back, foodie friends. Okay, we've got it all plated up. We're having birria tacos. If I didn't mention it already, I think I did. That's the broth or the birria sauce. Here is taco beans. So, and I also, friends, have a true crime that I read, but there was a lot of information and some information I had to leave out so y'all could read in between the lines, and I'm going to use different words just so it's not too gruesome, I guess. Okay, these are grilled onions. Let's add some cilantro, hot sauce, and let's get to it, okay? Let's have a few bites before I start. Oh my goodness, it feels like it's really juicy and it's not. I'm trying to, oh, this one's better. Okay, let's give it a try. Had some problems with sour cream. I thought it was open and it's not open. This is piping hot. That's, I don't know. Doesn't feel too hot, but we'll see. So how are you doing? Hope you're eating with me. Go grab yourself a snack or something to eat. This has butter, sour cream, bacon bits. Cheers, friends. Cheers. I didn't do a pour because I'm out of Coke Zero. That's sweet tea, by the way. Okay, so let's try one. Let's try it without the sauce and then we'll dip it. Okay, that's good. Really good. Some beans. Delicious. Okay, now let's try it in the sauce. Oh yes. Now this is beef birria. I don't like the other one. It is so good. Delicious. Oh my goodness, you guys, look. Look at all that shredded meat. So let's add some cilantro. They didn't give me very much cilantro, but we'll work with what we have, right? Already added lemon, but let's see if we can add some more. Yes. Hot sauce, and this green sauce is wicked. So just a few drops. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm. Mm. Come here closer to mama. Okay, friends, this is a true crime that happened in Texas, so it's a Texas true crime. This happened in June of 1984. It was an execution-style murder. Enrique Henry de la Garza. He was 25 years old, and Erasmo Morales was 29 years old. I know for sure Enrique Henry was from Weslaco. Erasmo Morales, it doesn't say where he was from, but I am assuming, but I'm not 100% sure, he was also from Weslaco. Henry and Erasmo lived on top, they had like a loft apartment on top of a store that was called the Pickup Number 2 in Weslaco. It was on Texas Boulevard. Henry shared his apartment with Erasmo. I believe they were partners. when back in that day in this area of South Texas, that was kind of hush hush, unheard of. You didn't ask, they didn't tell, you just, kind of assumed, right? So there's someone who witnessed what happened. This was supposedly common law wife. Her name is Belinda Flores Gomez. The person who caused this is Valdemar Gomez Jr. He was 32 years old. So on a June afternoon in 1984, before gaining entry to the apartment, the allegations were at that time that Gomez had been snorting cocaine. He forced himself into the apartment of Henry and Erasmo. He was not alone. His common law wife Belinda Flores Gomez was there with him. Followed him, went with him. I don't know, maybe she was forced to go. I don't know. Belinda says she didn't have a clue of what was going to happen that afternoon and what Gomez was about to do or what he was there for. She just went along with him. Forced himself into the apartment. There was an argument between Gomez and Henry. Erasmo was thought that he was not in the apartment, but actually he was sleeping in the bedroom, so he didn't hear anything. He was a heavy sleeper, so he just didn't hear the argument. She watched Valdemar Gomez do these horrible things. First, as he gained entrance, they argued and everything. Somehow, remember, he had been under the influence. Belinda had testified that when he went, I guess the way he first got Henry was in the altercation, they were struggling. The first hit was a bottle over the head. So Gomez struck Henry with a bottle over the head, which kind of dazed him a little bit. And during the struggle, he tied his hands behind his back because he was kind of in and out of consciousness from that bottle that struck his head. So he proceeds to tie his hands behind his back, and then he goes and leaves Henry there. Erasmo was in the bedroom sleeping. Gomez proceeded to look through the apartment. He was looking for something. So in the bedroom, he found Erasmo. He was sleeping. So Erasmo suddenly woke. They got into an altercation, they were fighting. And somehow, some way, Gomez was too powerful. So he overtook Erasmo and also tied his hands behind his back. What he used, we don't know. It doesn't specify. He had them both bound. Then Gomez goes to the bedroom. He's still looking for something, and somehow Gomez dragged Erasmo from the bedroom and made him come over to the same living room where they were, where Henry was. He forced Henry, somehow struggled with him. He took his gun out and execution style shot him in the back of the head. Where the pew was, I don't know, but he somehow got a hold of a fire extinguisher and proceeded to smash that fire extinguisher over the head of Erasmo, and he suffered a skull fracture. Now, with that skull fracture, it didn't kill him right away, so he was still struggling, trying to stay alive, being coherent exactly what was going on. Took a look at what was occurring, right in front. Erasmo at that point was still struggling in and out of consciousness because his head was severely injured. Henry stopped struggling, Henry stopped moving, and Henry stopped breathing. He stops moving and he stops breathing. So Henry at that point is unalive. Then Gomez, after what he did, he starts stabbing and stabbing and stabbing and stabbing many, many times Erasmo and Henry. There was everywhere. So Gomez eventually, from all the stabbing wounds, kills, unalives Erasmo. Henry is unalive. Erasmo's unalive. Now, Gomez found the bag of money. Him and Belinda got out of there. They didn't call for help. They didn't, they just got out of there before, somebody heard a gunshot or something and would arrive. Just a side note, I remember, I was young, everybody was going by there, right? Everybody was driving by. Everybody from the neighboring towns wanted to know what had happened, where it happened. And you could see prints, handprints on a big picture window that they had that was overlooking the street. On the other side of that house, that apartment, was the railroad track. I had a big picture window on the other side facing Kino Cafe, that's a very popular cafe diner that's been there since 1920s, 1930s. Crowds of people going by after this happened, right? And after the investigation was over. I don't know why they didn't clean that off of the window, but it was an attraction. Belinda was watching all of this that was going on. Maybe she was hiding her face, maybe she was turned, but she was listening. Now, the other story that she said that kind of contradicted what she had previously said was, yes, he had been struck with a bottle, then the hands were tied behind the back, then the pew-pew to the back of the head. He takes out a pew-pew and he hits him behind the head. He drops and it's over. He stops struggling. There was a struggles with Erasmo as well. Erasmo is waking up and he ties Erasmo's hands behind his back. Then he brings him over to the living room. And remember, he's got superpowers because he was doing that stuff before. So then he finds he gets a hold of a fire extinguisher and hits Erasmo over the head, crushing his skull, and Erasmo drops to the floor. Henry is seeing this. Then he proceeds to struggle with Henry, and this, just struggling. Gomez is looking through the apartment. He's looking. He finds a bag of money, and they get out of there. Him and Belinda get out with that bag of money. Apparently, the motive for this unaliving two people in such a horrible way was because one of them, I don't know if it was Henry or it was Erasmo, remember they lived over that convenience store, pickup number 2, and apparently one of them owed Gomez money. That's his excuse for going in there doing what he did. Also, the other allegation or rumors are that Henry and Erasmo were a gay couple when it was not out really in the open yet, and Gomez liked one of them or wanted a relationship with one of them, and none of them ever paid attention to him. So that's a rumor, talk, allegations, but I don't know if it was true or not in the long run, because a lot of things can be said in the court of law. That doesn't mean it's true, right? Gomez apparently was jealous of Henry. He was very, very jealous of Henry and had an infatuation with him. Belinda, something she said in court. Belinda Flores at one time. Then it goes to the courts, and then she says that she's Belinda Flores Gomez. So Belinda Flores was before the court hearing started, she was protected by police, was given immunity as a witness to the scene of the crime. Apparently, Belinda stated she was afraid of Valdemar Gomez and what he could do to her and her children. She stated she was his common law wife She testified allegedly Gomez had assaulted her 10-year-old son. She told the son to take off his clothes at gunpoint. Then later, she also testified that the daughter, one of her daughters, she was the mother of 4 children. She had 4 children at the time that this occurred, and that one of the little girls had said that he had hurt her down there. These were allegations. The court proceedings were really about the unaliving of 2 men. They didn't do anything, I don't think, about those allegations. Belinda says she never reported what her children had told her because she was afraid of Gomez. She was afraid of what he could do to her, and he had threatened her that if she went to the authorities, it hurt her children and hurt her. Unalive, probably. So what the prosecuting attorney offered her was protection while she was going to court and testifying. She was also released from being responsible for the actions that occurred on that afternoon. She testified, went through the whole thing in court, told him everything that had happened, the way it occurred, kind of like a timeline, how it happened. And then, his court-appointed attorney kept interrupting and, of course, defending his client, but she would just blurt out, like, he's a cold-blooded unaliver. He is a threat to society. He is always unaware of what he's doing because of what he's sniffing all the time. That he's always sniffing a white powder is what she testified in court. So she at one time blurted out, "Stop defending that cold-blooded murderer. That if you don't keep him in jail forever, he will unalive someone else because he has unalived someone else a long time ago." Who that was, where it was, if it actually happened, or was it something Gomez, had told her that he had done before? Who knows, right? Belinda claimed he had done horrible things, and under the influence of that white powder sniffing stuff, that he would probably do terrible things because he was addicted. And when he did these sniffing things of this white substance, he had superpowers. He was very strong. Nobody could stop him. 4 friends one time tried stopping him from doing something, and they could not hold him back. So on January of 1986, 2 years later, Valdemar Gomez Jr. was sentenced, found guilty of the unaliving of Enrique Henry de la Garza and Erasmo Morales. Sentencing was 2 life sentences being served consecutively with no possibility of parole. The judge stated that he was a threat to society. Back in 1984, when this occurred, Valdemar Gomez Jr. was 32 years old. He is currently 70 years old. So this happened 38 years ago. I am going to insert somewhere here or here the inmate information, and his information is there. He is serving those sentences for capital murder, and he's 70 years old, so he's been locked up all this time. I couldn't find any pictures of Henry or Erasmo, but it was a terrible crime, you guys, and it was a terrible crime back then, when if they were gay or were not, if they were a couple or were not, it was still a horrible unaliving of 2 men. and supposedly all because of money. Was it a hate crime? Was it a robbery? Who knows? Because I couldn't find very much. I would find a lot of information, but a lot of the information was the same or just a little bit distorted, different. So there you go. That's what happened. That's what illegal drugs will do to someone. That is what the greed of money will do. It's really a sad case, and yeah, that's what happened. He's serving life. So let's continue eating. If y'all have any questions, comment down below. I had to change a lot of things, you guys, because it was gruesome. And then it's hard to tell a story without just using what you want to use. Without breaking the rules of YouTube, right? So I hope you understood the story, the true crime. My little book of knowledge. My little book of my notes. So tell me what you think. Had you heard about that? Some of these stories that I find, you guys, they're like, remember there was only newspaper back then? So some of the archives is has been uploaded or is on one of those microfiche things. Some of these newspaper places don't even exist anymore. That was wicked. They're not super hot, but they're hot. So good. Beans. Y'all want me to do a true crime again? Do you have any ideas? Any ideas of what? It's a lot of research, but I love it. I love true crime. It's not that hot anymore, but now it's the spice kicking in. And it's real spicy still in my mouth, and of course we're adding more, right? You gave me red and green, 3 of each. So let's eat this last one. There was 4 in the order. It's called a combo. So it was 4 taquitos with baked potato. The beans, the birria, I guess, comes with it, right? Of course. And all the extras are the lemon, cilantro. There was raw onion. There was grilled onions. I only took the grilled onions. 3 hot sauces, green and red. Good combo. Also, friends, when I do these true crimes, I don't mean any disrespect to the families or the victims' families. It's like when I remembered this one. I remember it took a while to find out who it was, what had happened. So, you know, there's a lot of rumors in the small area, South Texas. But I think there's always something to learn. Don't ever let your guard down. Of course, we don't know what's in the future for anyone, but if we could only prevent these horrible things from happening. Last bite. Okay, I lied. Last bite. Can y'all see the rest of this? So that is it, friends. That is all. Finished almost all of my food. Texas true crime was informative. And we just never know, right? And thank you for joining me. Remember, any suggestions, questions, comments, please hit it down below. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Hit that notification bell and hit that thumbs up on your way out. I really, truly appreciate it, you guys. I love your comments. Like I said, if you have any suggestions on another true crime, do the Texas ones. I have a couple of them that I'm researching, but one was a lot. This one was a lot. So thank you for joining me, friends. I truly appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.